Wars are started by politicians, fought by soldiers and suffered by the common man. And this war in Ukraine is no different. The entire country has been turned into a battlefield, and that has consequences. Take a look at this picture. It sums up the global impact of Russia's war. What you're looking at is a field of wheat in Kharkiv. You see that cylinder stuck in the middle? That is a Russian artillery shell. It landed right in the middle of this field. Now, do you see the problem here? Ukraine makes up 10% of the global wheat exports. Their farmers feed people around the world. But since February, they're facing two problems. Number one, you can't grow crops in a battlefield. And number two, their produce is stuck in the Black Sea. Most of Ukraine's grain exports go through the sea, the Black Sea. But right now, it's a battleground. Cargo ships cannot safely navigate through the Black Sea. Basically, it's a blockade. As a result, the global grain market is strained. Wheat prices are up 55% compared to last year. Countries in West Africa are facing starvation. So last week, Ukraine and Russia tried to end the blockade. Their delegates met in Turkey. Was there good news? Well, reports say a deal is within reach. But there is disagreement over one issue, and that is security. Russia fears the West will smuggle weapons in cargo ships. What about Ukraine? They fear the ships will be attacked. So both sides are trying to find some sort of middle ground here. And this could include inspections, checks to ensure that weapons are not being funneled. And where will this inspection take place? According to some reports, Istanbul. Turkey is an important player in these talks. On Tuesday, President Erdogan met Vladimir Putin in Tehran. Both men discussed the Black Sea blockade. Putin praised Erdogan for his role in the mediation.
With your mediation, we have moved forward. Not all issues have yet been resolved, but the fact that there is movement is already good.
Well, you don't hear that often. Erdogan is milking his neutrality to the maximum. He's planning another round of grain talks this week. And this time, he wants a written agreement, a document to be signed by Russia and Ukraine. Frankly, both sides need it. Ukrainian farmers have just wrapped up their harvest season. The output was good, but they have no market to sell it. Take a look at these numbers. Ukraine ended the last season with 6.8 million tons of corn. That's 8 times more than the season before. They also have some 5.8 million tons of wheat, 4 times more than the previous season. Until now, the stock was exported. It was crucial to countries in Africa and West Asia. But the blockade has ended that trade. So this coming season, farmers face two problems. One is the lack of money. Without selling your grain, you have no capital for the next season, no money to buy seeds or fertilizers or equipment. And the second problem is storage. Let's assume the farmers somehow manage to get a good harvest. Where will they store it? The grain silos are already overflowing. Another harvest would have no space. And do you know what's the worst part of this? The cruel irony of it all. While Ukraine has too much grain, the rest of the world has too little. Let's focus on Africa. Bread prices in this continent are up 50%. Overall food prices are up 12.6%. It is the sharpest increase since the 1990s. Western and Southern Africa are the worst hit. Food insecurity in those parts could increase by 20%. How many people would that affect? Almost 174 million people. The United Nations is warning of an unprecedented crisis in Africa. To prevent that, Ukraine and Russia must strike a deal, and they must do it fast, because the wheat won't stay usable for long. More than 25 million tons of grain will start rotting soon, so Russia and Ukraine cannot waste time. They must release the shipments before this turns into a global hunger crisis. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.